Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Forecast. I'm Ryan Auten. Today, we're taking a journey through time, tracing the evolution of weather forecasting from its earlier days to the cutting-edge predictions that we rely on now. We'll explore the birth of the Storm Prediction Center, how it's grown into a cornerstone of severe weather prediction, and how TV meteorology brought the forecast into our living rooms and transformed it into what we see today.
Tornado confirmed just northeast of Oklahoma City, moving northeast at 30.
Tornado that is coming through downtown Coleman. And again, do not worry about the change in the structure. This thing will probably stay down for a long period of time. So
Weather forecasting as we know it just didn't pop up overnight. For centuries, people relied on folklore, observations, and a bit of luck to guess what the skies had in store. But by the mid-20th century, science was ready to take the helm. The Storm Prediction Center, or SPC, originally born out of necessity and a growing understanding of severe weather, back in 1952, it started as the local severe thunderstorm unit under the U.S. Weather Bureau. The reason this agency was created? A devastating tornado outbreak in 1951 in Minnesota that caught forecasters off guard. Forecasters realized they needed a dedicated team to focus on predicting tornadoes, thunderstorms, and other high-impact weather events. Fast forward to the year 1952, the Severe Local Storm Unit was officially up and running in Kansas City. Early on, it was a small operation. The office had punch card computers and hand-drawn maps. Forecasters leaned on the basic radar and surface observations to issue warnings. But over the decades, the SPC evolved into new and more advanced weather technology. By the 1980s, Doppler radar came into play, giving them a clearer picture of the storm rotation and structure. Then, in 1955, the SPC moved to Norman, Oklahoma, joining forces with the National Severe Storms Laboratory. Today, they use supercomputers, satellite imagery, and more advanced modeling to issue outlooks in advance, pinpointing risks down to specific regions, from a fledgling unit to a global leader in severe weather prediction. The SPC's growth mirrors how far forecasting itself has come. As the Storm Prediction Center continued to evolve with cutting-edge technology, it became the backbone of weather forecasting in the United States. But the NWS is not the only player in the world of weather prediction. Beyond government agencies, the private sector has played a crucial role in bringing weather forecasts to the public. From TV meteorologists delivering the daily weather forecast to private weather companies delivering tailored weather forecasts to aviation, emergency management, or businesses. These organizations have helped build the gap between science and everyday decisions we make.
And now we receive this information from the National Weather Service that confirms ours, a tornado about 15 miles south of Enid, moving to the northeast, so it may take in the east part of Enid and on to the northeast. So once again, tornado warning for Garfield County, and if we come back down here, this tornado...
We have a catastrophic tornado of historic proportions that has just went through Mayfield.
And with hardly a ridge of high in here, although there are temperatures of 35, the next...
And on Friday, cloudy with showers and thunderstorms.
Guys, this is it. This is the storm, Mayfield.
In 1916, the first weather report was a test transmitted by a wireless telegraph from a small town in Illinois. During the 1920s, forecasting improvements occurred with the launching of weather balloons from various weather stations across the U.S. In 1946, numerical weather models became a reality when the first electronic computer was created. During World War II in 1941, a New York Times article said the first televised weather report occurred on October 14, 1941. Hardly anybody saw this broadcast, though, because of the lack of television back then. After World War II ended, TV rose rapidly in prominence. TV stations hired weather forecasters from the Weather Bureau or college professors to forecast the weather. This didn't last that long, though, because consumers lost interest in it and they thought it was boring. Fast forwarding 4 decades to the 1950s, and television is exploding across American homes. Weather forecasting, once confined to newspapers or radio, suddenly had a new stage. The first TV weather broadcasts were, let's just say, rustic. You had meteorologists or sometimes charismatic hosts standing in front of chalkboard maps, drawing cold fronts with a piece of chalk, no green screens, no fancy weather graphics, just a pointer and a lot of enthusiasm. One of the earliest pioneers was Lewis Allen in Washington, D.C., who started delivering forecasts on air in 1947. But it was simple, but it worked, and it laid the groundwork for TV weather forecasting. By the 1960s and 70s, TV weather started to evolve. Color television brought vibrant maps, and stations hired trained meteorologists to replace the weatherman gimmick. In order to weed out unfit weather presenters, the American Meteorological Society created the seal of approval in 1957. This was a stamp that basically said, hey, this person knows their stuff. Technology kept pace too. By the 1980s, green screens and digital graphics let forecasters animate storms in real time. Suddenly, viewers could see the weather moving and not just hear about it. The 1990s and 2000s brought significant changes to the TV weather industry. Starting in the early 1990s, Doppler radar was becoming more widely used in TV weather forecasting and providing weather coverage. Significant weather events were at the top of the news cycle for many TV stations. There were more live weather events, more use of new weather technology, and more certified meteorologists on air. TV stations invested heavily into new weather graphics for radar. Instead of giving a broad area that could be underneath a tornado warning, TV stations could now zoom into local neighborhood level areas and give the most detail on ongoing weather. Today's TV meteorology is a whole different animal. High definition radar, 3D storm tracking, augmented reality. Social media has a significant presence in the weather world, with meteorologists like those at the SPC or your local news station posting updates on platforms like Twitter or YouTube, reaching millions instantly. It's not just about the 6 p.m. broadcast anymore. It's 24/7, interactive, and personal. From chalkboards to touchscreens, TV weather forecasting has gone from a novelty to a lifeline. So where does that leave us today? In 2025, the SPC and TV meteorology have grown hand in hand, pushing the boundaries of prediction, the other bringing it home. The SPC's outlooks and local weather forecasting offices now guide everything from school closures to airline routes, while TV meteorologists translate complex data into something that we can all grasp, sometimes with a smile, sometimes with a warning together. They've turned weather forecasting from a guessing game into a science that saves lives. As we look ahead, evolution is far from over. Artificial intelligence, better climate models, and maybe even drone-based observations. Who knows what's next? Only time will tell. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Beyond the Forecast. I'm Ryan Auten, and have a great rest of your day.
Tornado confirmed just northeast of Oklahoma City, moving northeast at 30.
Tornado that is coming through downtown Coleman. And again, do not worry about the change in the structure. This thing will probably stay down for a long period